already started. Let's get the word out. We'll get the word out on Twitch. And we'll get the word out on post. And welcome to the Bonnet Chronicles. I am your host, Kalari GXC. Give me just a moment, y'all. I'm going to close out some of these pages because I've got a lot of tabs up tonight. I had to do a lot of researching thanks to all you wannabe speculators and sleuths. So, yeah, we are going to hit a lot of topics tonight, but I need to backtrack up to what I handle on Tuesday because some of you wanted to try me on Twitter, and Twitter is always a contentious place. I'm gonna segue right into another topic on about Twitter in just a moment here, but I had somebody who I don't think they still follow me after the rude, hey honey, after the rude way they interacted with me on my page, and I keep reminding you all, it is my timeline. If you don't like what I say, keep it moving. But I made the tweet that anybody who knows anybody black, anybody who actually listens to black women, won't be surprised about the issues we've had with Katie Porter, or Little Miss Stunts, as I like to call her. But you show that you don't listen to black women. And of course, like you can set your watch to them. There's always, even those who follow you, that one clear, as we've been calling them, or envelopians. I'm starting to like that one too, that want to jump into your mentions and go, you're wrong about that. You're being hateful, Ted. So I need to. I thought you would like envelopians too, dear. I need to remind you all of why the issues with Katie Porter are so strong and severe. And I want to give Jill Mack, 30, a dear friend, so eloquent, and somebody who is directly impacted by this. Hence why she got one of those texts from insensitive Katie Porter to support the campaign. And this is what she fired back. 7 things, and then she changed it. She has more than 7, so I'm going to enjoy this. 7 reasons why I will never support your campaign. Not allowing DiFi to make her announcement on whether she's running. Announcing it during a natural disaster in CA, which I remind you, California is going through record floods. They've had weird rainfall and snow, and it has caused monumental damage to the state. A 5-year-old is still missing. He got swept away from his mother. There are at least 12 known dead, and many more are out of homes and displaced because of the raging water. And to have somebody who she just barely won her seat making the announcement for a Senate bill, thus giving the finger to our own constituents, is bad enough. But as we go on this list, you'll start to hear the things that we black women have been saying for a while. Endorsing Democrat hating Jill Stein voting Nina Turner over Chantel Brown, which I told a friend that was Katie Porter's finger to the CBC, who she's had a problem with for a while now. Asking for donations for her House campaign, barely squeaking it out, and then immediately running for Senate. Her obvious performative stunt in the House right before announcing with a book written by a violent anti-black racist. Her disrespect of Maxine Waters, which once again, because I know some people go, well, what was that about, Ted? So here's a Cliff Notes version. Katie Porter, like every U.S. representative, gets to be appointed to committees. I do believe that there is a limit on how many committees ethically you can be a part of because they don't want conflicts of interest. And it keeps down to having to keep track of who's a part of what. So there's a standard reason for limiting how many committees a representative can be a part of, but Katie didn't want to listen to the rules. Katie thought, I know better than everybody else. Why should I listen to this antiquated system? I know better. My stunts are better. I should be a part of whatever I want. She fights with Maxine. I have done the work. I am in charge. I've said this is how we're going to do it. Waters. And just the macroaggressions after that can't be denied. And some people will wonder, well, you said that black women have a problem, but she backed Nina Turner. Yeah, have you heard what a lot of black women, especially black Dems, have said about Nina Turner? Because I don't think you listened to us about her either. Some of you are so blinded by the populism message that some of these far lefters push that you can't see what your friends are saying to you about them. There's a reason why black voters didn't fall for Nina Turner's ice cream truck okey doke. I need you to understand everything that Nina Turner was putting out there, everything that she was spinning, everything she does comes across as fraudulent. She says she would rather eat a bowl of shit than vote for somebody competent for president. She voted for Jill Stein. I'm just like, I can't. Welcome to the chat, Red Baron. I can't make it clearer to people how problematic Nina Turner was, and then to have Katie Porter give a finger to the Congressional Black Caucus by trying to endorse her over Chantel Brown, told black women all we need to know about Katie's judgment. And then you add zero legislating. The only thing she is known for is naming the post office. Reportedly a terrible boss with multiple accusations of both racism, treating people like garbage. She voted against helping the Ukraine. Voted 40 times against the Democrats with Republicans. Ethnic issues included her insider deal on her house in CA, which if anybody needs to ask, there's an alleged issue with her taking housing from faculty at the school that she is no longer employed at. So there's a whole bunch of mess with Representative Porter. But she seems to think that she could stunt her way into a seat. It worked for her mentor, Elizabeth Warren, another person black women have had a problem with. Y'all tried so hard to push 23andMe on us. You tried so hard to get us to overlook the fact that she lied about her heritage, overlook the fact that she's had problems with women of color, that she used certain women of color as props, like Ayanna Presley. But when black moms confronted her in the South about her idea to privatize both hospitals, which would be bad for us, and schools, which would be bad for black students, she had no answers and ran out. I feel like I get it. You really want that great white hope. You want that woman that'll be your badass bitch. You see how we are coalescing around MVP Harris, who has done the work, who is the entire package. You want yours too, but you had her. You had her back in 2015 when she announced her bid. You had her in 2016 when she won her primaries, and then you didn't respect her run. And you let her lose, even if there's technicalities, even if they prove Russian interference. The majority of yous didn't like that woman enough. You let HRC fail her run because you couldn't support her run. She was a total package. Whether people want to believe the 30-year hit pieces the GOP tried to place on her, whether you think, oh, I don't like the fact that she kept with Bill. All the superficial reasons do not negate all the work she did. And one of the problems I personally had with Katie Porter's bid, ahead of everything that was even officially announced, was that it disrespected an elder who has done the work. And I've seen so much rampant ageism in these last few days that I'm kind of thoroughly disgusted with some of my fellow Dems at this point. Because not only are you helping the progressives talking points, but you aren't clearly stating, none of you were able to fully answer me. Okay, you say that Senator Feinstein is too old, which I don't agree with. I don't think age diminishes you completely. Especially if you know that you can do the job. You shouldn't have to worry about being put out the pasture if you're not ready to go. Some of you are really disgusting with that. But you want to replace her, right? Why do you want to replace her with somebody that's never even legislated in her entire life, that doesn't have any bills under her name, doesn't vote with us, doesn't pass it, and only known for stunts? What is it about whiteboard Wilma that seduces you so much? They can't answer that. And then others will try to deflect. Because apparently, Barbara Lee, who's also a representative, said at the Congressional Black Caucus luncheon recently that she is considering it. She has not made an official bid because, unlike Little Miss Stunt, she realizes my state is in crisis. My friend is still a sitting senator. I am not rude enough to be that disrespectful to all the hard work that Dianne Feinstein has done. Adam Schiff's another name people have thrown around. Through the grapevine, they said he's been interested too. There is going to be what people are expecting is going to be a mess. I don't think it's going to be a mess. I think some people are going to want to initially back Schiff. He's a good man. He makes good points. I have no problem with him. If I lived in California, like my relatives do live in California, which people have a big family. Oh well, aunties and uncles. They will probably lean towards Barbara Lee. The Congressional Black Caucus don't miss when they back somebody. So yeah. So Katie's little stunt might have got eyes on her, but I don't think it's gonna net her what she thinks is gonna net her. And that's the problem with politics right now. Because we are caught between a side that doesn't work in any kind of truth. They craft facts. I'm going to bring up some of the insane stuff I've seen from supposed GOPers all week, including their beef with M&Ms now, their rant on gas stoves. It's been madness. But when you put and pit bulls, apparently, they have a problem with pit bulls. When you put all that to the side, because we already know that the culture war is being waged on anything woke, anything black, anything different, our side is not much better right now. And when I say this, it's not, oh, you're saying Dems are bad. No, I'm saying people are idiots. And it doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. When you act dumb, I get to call you out. One of the dumb things I had to deal with today, earlier, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find a tweet because I really don't want to go searching through every single tweet. And we're going to get to this in a bit too, because people want to argue with a black person about what's racist and what's not, and why this microaggression isn't. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why it is. But apparently earlier on Twitter today, I might have referenced some feathers, and if I did, oh well. And I did notice the few of you that I used to follow that no longer follow me. Bye, bitches. My feelings don't get hurt. We're grown people. If you don't like me to my face. What I can't stand, and what I've told Greg, and I've said it on Twitter a few times, you aren't fooling anybody. You will hate follow somebody, or you will gawk at somebody just waiting for them to step in it, and that way you can go, I never liked them in the first place. Let's get on a blockchain. I'm getting really sick of the clique mentality online. This ain't high school, and I ain't deal with this crap in high school either. You do not tell grown people who they can follow and unfollow. And I'm not even, like I said, I have made the caveat that years ago, especially before, I would say about 2016. That's when my act really started to come together on Twitter, so that I wouldn't quit social media. But I remember being that kind of person, and I did not like that that, oh, if you're mutuals with this person. Back when I was with my group, especially, I did that shit, and it's not right. Ostracizing people because I don't want to talk to them, making people that I talk to. I am not that. We're not organized crime leaders. So I fully admit, if anybody went digging 10 years ago, if they're able to pull up those tweets, I'm sure they would find something where I've said something like that. So I'm not trying to come from a pious place. I'm coming from somebody who actually learned from my mistakes and realized I don't like being told who I can associate with on Twitter. So I don't want people telling me that, and I'm not going to tell you. But if you want to use who I associate with to not follow me anymore, do so. I won't remember you. I think it needs to be said. For the most part, anybody I interact with on a regular on that site, I'm good with. I'm golden. I try to be as genuine as humanly possible with people. But I am not going to pretend like I remember every freaking single one of you. There's over 30,000 followers at this point. And I know I don't know all of you personally. I don't even follow all of you back because I don't know who you are. I had one that tried me today. They've been trying me for the last probably few months, digging at me, using snarky remarks. I didn't follow them because the first interaction I had with them put me off. And they just keep saying off the wall things, so I muted them. I know they still follow me for some reason, hoping that I was one of them people that see, oh, you follow me, I'll just follow you back. That's not how it works. But one of my friends, who I've followed for years now, she's a professor, and I know it's the internet, anybody can say anything, bonjour. But she does have kind of controversial opinions. She's been accused of being a misandrist, which I don't think she is. I think she just says off the wall stuff to get attention, like most people on Twitter. She has a boyfriend now, so she can't hate men that much. She likes to say off the wall stuff. When she was grieving a relative of hers passing, she was on there a lot. Sometimes I responded, sometimes I kept it moving. There's only so much I can say to people who are grieving. That's just my personality. But what I don't do is ride a whole train of I never liked that person anyway, because that would be a lie. I still like her. I didn't agree with something she said, but as a friend, she says, not the first time. Y'all tried to do that to my friend Justin too. Yeah, he said some pretty effed up things about voter ID laws, something that I tried to educate him on too, and we didn't agree. We finally both agreed to disagree because I felt it was rooted in racism. He felt he was right, that people should just buck it up and it's not as bad and affordable. He didn't understand the context as far as I was concerned. And for me, I guess he thought I didn't understand that he was suggesting making it easier or whatnot. Either way, friends sometimes butt heads. I don't always agree with everything my friends say and do. And one of the things that Baroness said, and I'm using her handle, she's not really a baroness, was AG Garland was a Republican, which no, he wasn't. And all these other negative things, which I'm going to talk about in depth tonight. She made the mistake of putting that on Twitter and not deleting it fast enough, because that's another thing she likes to do. She likes to delete her tweets. That's another reason why I stopped responding to her, because I never knew when I was going to type a response and get this tweet is no longer found. So I get annoyed. It messes with my OCD. When I go to tweet at somebody and then I can't because they decided to just delete it, it bothers me. But I don't want to ding her on the quirk that might be part of her OCD. So I just started leaving it alone. If I see her every once in a while, yeah, I laugh. But I'm not chasing her tweets anymore, because it does get kind of frustrating trying to figure out what tweets she's going to keep before I respond to them. But that tweet, if I'd seen it in real time, because need I remind you, yesterday was Axiomal's birthday, so I wasn't going to be on Twitter all day. I'm sorry, I was spending time with my baby. No. I'm just like, I did not see the tweet in real time. The only thing I got was secondhand knowledge from a screen cap. It was clearly her post. They clearly grabbed it because they were waiting. And some of you show how desperate you are, waiting for somebody to step in and so that you can go, see, I've never liked them. And that's good for you. If you don't like somebody, I am never here to tell you who to like, who to hate. But what I'm going to tell you is that it did not look good on your little group there, spreading that mean girl, I never liked her anyway, so I can't believe I have a bunch of mutuals with her anyway, so it feels coordinated. And when I started thinking about the one that was really loud because she kept answering everybody back about how it was her best friend that Thought Cop went after first, and had black women coming in talking about, yeah, we told her she was racist for using Thought Cop, she's Puerto Rican. And I know some people think, well, that's not the same as black tan, and whatever. Ethnic women use certain lingo. She grew up in New York. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? I know you just want to gatekeep certain words or say certain words are racist, and I'm sorry. I don't speak for every black woman, but I speak for this black woman. Her name never offended me. I never took offense to it. If she wants to call herself a thought, call herself a thought. Like, as long as nobody calls me one, what the fuck? But that's the problem with Twitter. Everybody hates everybody else and just wants to pretend. And I don't wear those kind of masks, y'all. You want to judge my friend based on the post she makes? Fine. But the moment you say stuff like, well, I always knew she was bad, I was just waiting for it to unfollow. That's how I know you're just going to do the same to me. And that's why I gave you the out today. If my mutual association with somebody you don't clearly like is enough for you not to like me too, bye. I don't need people like this in my life. It is stressful thinking that people are just waiting in the wings for one bad take to do this, to jump in and harp on something. And like I said, I'm not even trying to defend her character because none of you even really know her character. It could all be a fucking act. That's something I've learned from years on Twitter. Unless somebody is constantly showing you who they are, which she technically can't because of her work, but even knowing that, I'm always going to be at least 80% of where I'm her friend, 20% where I don't trust that this is who they say they are because I don't fully know. This is an online friendship that has been over 4 years. So I take it with a grain of salt that this could very much be somebody from fucking Romania. I don't know. But I do know that in all the conversations I did have with them, including private ones, which I'm not going to be spilling all the private stuff, they come across to me as a real person who is hurting, a real person who can't trust because of all the online petty backstabbing BS. And I get it. They're not a likable person to you. They're not asking you to like them. So move on. But what I'm not going to take part of is these weird Twitter lynch mobs. Every time there is a faction fight, it's fucking stupid. This has happened. You aren't even original in this. We just had one a few months back between people I actually liked and respected, going back and forth, arguing over the PA races. I know politics is a contentious thing to talk about. I know sometimes your favorites don't get picked and it makes you salty. But some of you take this so to heart that you are willing to burn all kinds of bridges behind it. And you wonder why you ain't got no friends in real life. And you can tell you don't have friends in real life. Because you're so busy trying to order people around on Twitter. You're not a drill sergeant. We're not your soldiers. And you can't go around telling people who they can be friends with. This is ridiculous. And speaking of ridiculous, in the culture wars, people don't understand microaggressions. When you see this video, I bet some people will think, well, what was the problem, Tim? And if that's your initial reaction, you'll probably be like a lot of people who tried to confront me on this. Let me see if I can't seem to grab that box. Come on now. It's because I have so many pictures that I wanted to show. There we go. Nope. Come on, Twitter. Sometimes I have to select the box in the, there we go. Now, I didn't want the properties of Twitter. I just wanted Twitter. Whew. Sorry I'm slow tonight, y'all. Give me just a moment. We have this video of Odell. He is a quarterback, or I believe, yeah. He tore his ACL. It is slow tonight. I'm beyond tired. But this video shows that sleeping on a plane, if you're black, nets you constant disrespect, constant microaggressions. And we're not going to watch all of this because it angered up my blood. And then people's responses to me made it worse. Because there are always people that will justify stuff like this. This man was asleep. He wasn't doing anything wrong to anybody. His whole crime was his seatbelt wasn't buckled. And he didn't respond to the flight attendant the way she wanted. And as you could see, as you panned over, and she keeps calling him baby, like he's not a grown man. and trying to force people to arrest or stop the flight, as you can see, the microaggressions and who does it, it's very frustrating because look at her. Look at her attitude and the arrogance of it. She wasted these men's time. She called fire and rescue because she tried to make it seem like it was a deeper situation than it was. And let me explain something to you about the whole situation. Because, like I said, if you find out and do the digging, you find out this man tore his ACL. So he was already probably taking medication to rest during a long flight, as it was. She said his pants were off, which when the guys came to check on him and verifying, yeah, I'm keeping Betty Boop's icy stare up too. They verified his shorts were on, so I don't know what she was talking about. She kept calling him baby to try to diminish and get upset with him. And I guess white people wanted to say, well, he went off towards the end. You were kicking him off a plane for sleeping. And don't think that black people can't see the issue that Sky Karen had with him. Or Claren, as I've started to call them, because they all act like they got a bit of ancestry in them. What troubled me is everybody wants to focus on the rant he did as he was rudely woken up, rudely assessed by people that he didn't know, probably coming out of it like, what is going on? Having this woman disrespect him, calling him baby. So many people were like, Tin, I thought he had a child with him the way she was saying that. No, she was trying to diminish his manhood for some reason. Maybe she wanted to get his autograph, or maybe she flirted and he wasn't into her. I don't know what that woman's problem was, or maybe she just doesn't like successful black men sitting in first class. Wouldn't be the first time. Either way, he told her off. He told the people kicking him off the plane off. He said, fine, you want to be that way? I will be on a private jet going home now. And he called one of the guys, clearly big guys, fat. I mean, honestly speaking, I know there are some fat people who are sensitive about being fat. I'm one of the fat people that understand this is my body. You don't like it, you don't have to. I do. Keep it moving. But there are some people that are weight sensitive and they took what he said to heart and they want to run with that instead of taking the fact that this man was doing nothing wrong and that this Sky Karen decided, I'm going to assert my societal dominance. And we keep having to accept these macroaggressions. And I don't think you understand how tiring it is to see something that wrong happen to somebody at his level. And still have people try to make excuses, still try to tell us in our face that we don't know what we're talking about when it comes to racist aggression. And I am tired of it. You don't get to make the rules of race and then decide what's racism. Because need I remind you, and like I had to remind the gentleman earlier who tried me on it, oh, you're always bringing out the race stuff. No, I'm bringing out the ethnicity stuff. Because technically speaking, we're all humans. And skin tone decides ethnicity. I'm going to play your game, witchy clears, or envelopians, as that like. I'm really starting to like that. I think I'm going to start using the envelopians thing because it makes me laugh. The fact of the matter is you don't like it when we shine a light on the microaggressions, but if we don't, they're going to keep happening or getting worse. Need I remind you, a lot of us are not that far removed from Jim Crow. A lot of us are watching GOP officials like Sarah, one of my eyes, has decided to take a vacation, Sanders, who for some reason managed to get to be governor, decided, I'm going to ban CRT. It's their boogeyman. They know CRT isn't taught in elementary schools, it maybe should be, but it is an elective in certain law school programs, and yet for some reason, like every other crafted, manufactured GOP scare tactic, CRT is constantly their clarion call or their clarion call to other bigots. They're flooding our school boards. They're banning books. everything CRT, save our children from wokeness. And it's like, so you're anti-woke? Yeah, I'm anti-woke. What bothers me? So you're anti being a decent human being. You're anti letting people live. You're anti just making your life better. You're anti decency, right? Well, no, that's not. Is that what woke means? I don't even know what woke means. I heard it on Fox News. They said that woke agenda it's gonna turn our children trans, and it's gonna poison our crops and burn our villages. Y'all are so good at inventing monsters. And it's funny because I'm writing the second book, and it just hits me how humans will invent boogeymen when we are our own worst monsters. Honestly speaking, this man seems to be on everybody's mouth too. Let me get his picture up because I don't know what y'all have against old Merrick. I know that Eli Mystical, somebody that I respected, especially when I was doing my jaunt and wanted it to be in journalism. Didn't last that long, it's fine. But I followed a lot of journalists who I respected. Eli is still semi one of them. Sometimes he does make a good point. Most of the time, I end up not even paying attention to him because he is very hyperbolic. He knows I've butted heads with him over several things, including civics, because it's like you should be smarter than that. And he has said several things that didn't make sense, including when Dobbs was repealed. That's when him and I butted heads because he was just like being really ass-brained about it. But one of the things that I would have butted heads with Baroness if I wasn't spending Axiom's birthday with him and had seen that Ax9 tweet live time was her accusing this man of being a Republican. So let me introduce you to AG Merrick Garland. Because some of you are confused about who he is and some of his accomplishments. This man not only graduated from Harvard magna cum laude in 1977, the year I was born, but he has served under several presidents, clerked under Carter. He has done the sweat equity even when he was young. But one of the things that I think people forget in their hate of him, because they don't really know him, is that Bill Clinton had him appointed to things, and Barack Obama was going to put him on the Supreme Court. He is the one that Mitch McConnell said no to. He is the one that 293 days the Republicans held up any talks of his nomination because they were afraid of him. Why were they afraid of him, you might ask, Tim? Well, let's see. Some of the notable things he did when he was a DA and a prosecutor was go after and get the Oklahoma City bomber and made sure that it stuck to Timothy McVeigh and his co-conspirators. He also helped with the, I think, legal proceedings for the DC sniper. This man has worked hard in the name of justice, and he has been a force of both neutrality, but he's also defined himself as a centrist. So all of these people, like Baroness, who make the stupid talking point that he's a Republican, where are you getting that information from? Where is that even coming from? Then you got Eli calling him weak. Okay, you do realize that the Department of Justice is a neutral facility. I know some of you like to want our side to act more like the GOP. It's one of those ridiculous arguments I've seen way too much. And when I counter it back, I get a lot of, you hurt my feelings saying that. You don't have to say it so harsh. But when you hear people say that you would want us to act like these same people who are literally dying because they won't take an inoculation, red hat wearing, red pill swilling idiots, it bothers me. And then when you attack people who do the work, but they're not doing it fast enough, you're not seeing enough of a slideshow. You want a clown circus instead of an actual investigation. When Merrick Garland is so by the book that Mitch McConnell feared putting him on the SCOTUS. But you just want to throw around insults and accusations without even knowing what the AG does. Need I remind you, most of us didn't even realize that there was a national AG until recently, especially with 45 going through as many as he did. First off, when you see a president that's hands on with his AG, that's a bad sign. Hence why Sessions, even though he recused himself because he knew he wasn't supposed to get involved with a sitting president on that level, because they're not buddies, that is your boss, Trump got mad. I need loyal people. He definitely wanted Comey out, even though Comey helped him with that biased letter, which some of you fell for that okey doke. Y'all thought Mueller was going to save you so much that some of you even changed your handles to his name because you wanted a hero. And now you keep putting those unrealistic expectations on somebody that does stuff by the book. And real justice takes time. I know it's hard for some of you to understand. I took criminal justice. I wanted to be a law clerk when I was little. One of the things that stopped me was how long justice takes, how drawn out the process was. It was disheartening. I wish the system could go faster, but when a fast system happens, there's a good chance that errors can happen. And with something as big as the sedition of January 6th, 2021, we can't afford to make mistakes. And some of you are even getting the timeline incorrect. Looking at you, once again, Eli. Merrick Garland wasn't even appointed until March of 2021. And I know you're old, but that gives him over a year, Tin. Over a year. There's been 950 arrest warrants drafted just alone from the people who were on our Capitol grounds. Several convictions. Over 100 people have pleaded guilty. Proud Boy to just wackadoo who thought, I need to show support to my loyal leader. I need you to understand that this is bigger than everything you've ever dealt with, because most of us have never dealt with a literal riot on our Capitol. And I know you want 45 perp law. I know that is the goal in your heart. You think it's not being done fast enough. If it was a Law and Order episode, we would see it faster. But this is not television. And some of you have such unrealistic expectation fueled by our media, who know what they can say to incite anger and upset in you instead of letting you critically think. And it doesn't help when people with large platforms do it too. That is why, if I had seen Baroness's tweet, I would have called it out. Because you have a responsibility. If you have more than 100 followers anywhere, you have a responsibility to be factual. You have a responsibility not to help the spread of misinformation. I don't care who you are. The moment you start using your platform to spread misinformation, I can't trust you. And I don't want to lose trust for people I like. But if I see too much of that shit, nah, it's not okay. And I'm not going to help you spread that garbage either. All of you people that have something against AG Garland, you're just saying, this isn't going fast enough for me. I'm not seeing results fast enough. In a perfect world, bad people who are caught doing bad acts would pay quickly. But we have very expensive lawyers. We have rule books on the law. And we cannot just railroad people through because we don't like them. One of the things that people want to throw in my face is, well, Biden's being investigated now. And with the Kangaroo Court House, with the fact that our SCOTUS is still freaking compromised by Trump appointees too, yeah, I would worry, but I don't. It's like, to put this analogy, when I lived in the South especially, I was dealing with some crap. And one of the things I was dealing with was very pushy relatives. And one of the things a relative up north who works for Children and Family cautioned me was they will more than likely call Children and Family Services on you because they think they know better than you how to parent your son. I knew it was a reality. I know how nasty my family could be. They literally called a case on my grandmother. Boots to them, because it actually got us hospice care. They seen how much work we were doing for grandma, and we turned it in our favor. And that was a lesson learned for me. And I told my then relative from up north, who I was glad for her concern, that I'm not worried about it. And when they asked why, do you really want CPS coming to your house? If they come, they come. I had nothing to hide. My house stays clean. My kid stays fed. I do everything I'm supposed to do as a parent. Those who are doing the right thing don't fear investigations. And it wasn't like they were saying we were going to send the cops, which, yeah, even now today, I would be more nervous about having the police show up at my house than CPS. Because normally CPS is just there to do an initial inspection and investigation. I have nothing to hide, so I'm not going to be afraid of anything like that. So with these so-called papers that were left in the office over 7 years ago, and I know conspiracy theories want to talk about how they might have been planted or what. No, stop. Even if they were automatically forgotten 7 years ago by some careless clerk, that is not on President Biden. And I feel, and I said it yesterday, that he probably said to his DOJ, investigate me. Let's prove that nothing's wrong. It also gives these idiots something to glomp on so that maybe they'll stop talking about his son's laptop for a few minutes. Because need I remind you, before they had this piece of meat that is not going to fill them because there's nothing to it, before the president threw them this bone to get them out of the way, it feels like all the right one to talk about was Hunter Biden, what Hunter Biden is doing, what's on his laptop. He's in the Bahamas having fun naked. Why do you have naked pictures of Hunter Biden? Some of you are just, ew. Like, what is the obsession? Is it because 45's gruesome twosome sons would never, and nobody wants to see those two naked? Is it because the daughter literally looks like a Stepford Barbie? What is it about Hunter Biden that really has so many of you all up in that man's business? People were, oh, Tim, we heard there might have been improprietous business deals. But you don't know. You speculate based on rumor. And you just want to hate somebody with the last name Biden. You want to mock him for his former addiction or maybe current addiction. I don't know. Mind your business. That is his personal struggle. And some of you are hiding meth addicts in your own family. The nerve that people have judging people on that path like they can't recover and make their lives better. It's shameful. And some of you come from a place of supposed religion that pretty clearly tells you not to judge other people, being very judgy McJudgesons. So you need to stop it. But the problem I see is that it's really easy to craft and manufacture outrage. We see it amplified constantly on the right, whether it's wokeness, CRT, anything Biden, anything Democrat, and definitely anything black. It's real easy to see what triggers their side. But what troubles me is how many people on our side is playing their games for them too. You don't have a problem with AG Garland. You have a problem with the fact that this isn't a circus sideshow. You have a problem with this fact that justice doesn't go fast. FYI, it's not going to. You have a problem with the fact that you have no control in this situation, and it feels like the bad guys are just getting away with it because Trump is able to do speech and rallies. Trump is losing people left and right to either jail time, COVID death because they're idiots and deniers, even though their boy went and got his shots. I need you to understand that this man is hemorrhaging both funds, support, and loyalty. That's why he's been butting heads with DeSantis, who he fears the GOP is going to drop him for. It's a mess. And I'm enjoying the implosion. Because implosions don't happen quickly if you go by Hollywood standards. It probably does. I don't know. I don't remember that course of physics that well. It's been a long time. But I'm telling you, this is a nice, slow burn of an awful person. He is a lobster in a pot of boiling water. And as much as I hate that analogy, and I'm flashing back to a traumatic time as a kid, that is what I feel is going on with Trump. And all of you don't realize that. And even saying that, until we know, Everybody's just speculating. But I would rather not doom cry like some of your Twitter favorites because it gets us nowhere. You're focusing on what AG Garland should have been doing when you're a freaking state rep. It's probably one of those yahoos that held us up the first week of this month. You want to complain about AG Garland when your state is probably dealing with natural disasters, including the tornadoes that just hit several southern states. Why are you worrying about what the AG is doing if you're a Democrat and your state is not secure? Y'all ain't fooling anybody. And I noticed that a lot of yous are envelopians. You're the same ones that fall for whiteboard women stunts. You're the same ones that complain but do absolutely nothing to try to get those numbers down from 60% for fascism. You are the same ones who will tell me, BLM, I'm your ally until you say something I don't like, black woman. Then we're enemies. Then I never liked you in the first place. I wanted an excuse to block you. I wanted an excuse to unfollow and tell everybody you're a bad person because you hurt me in my feels. The fact of the matter is, the truth isn't for your feelings. And sometimes the truth hurts. You don't think it hurts me sometimes when I get around family and they're like, Tin, you're really fat. Tin, you really should have been more than what you were. I mean, you're 40 and 45 now, and I thought you would have had a more successful career. You used to. You used to make really good money. What happened to you? If you know the levels of brutality that both black and Asian people can give to you and point out your flaws, y'all ain't ready for Twitter if you can't handle the dozens, man. Truth sometimes hurts. Sometimes bad guys get away with being bad, but karma does seem to find a way to get them. Sometimes justice takes a lot of time. And I'm seeing that not only in what's going on with January 6th. We all know what happened in Idaho. And I don't want to turn this into a true crime podcast. We know that 4 young lives were lost to a brutal stabbing. We know that there's a 28-year-old man, alleged incel, accused of this. He thought he was smarter. And everything that you see as you learn more about this case just speaks to the arrogance of him. Even now, his first arraignment won't be until June. It takes time. We might not even see a full trial until 2024. Because justice takes time. And I know it doesn't feel right. And I know people will be like, well, Tim, shouldn't we do something about it? I would love to, but I've seen too many black, brown, especially indigenous people go down for crimes they didn't commit. Muslim people going down for looking a certain way. So no, I don't want justice rushed. I want justice to be done right, so that innocent people are not sitting in jail for 20 to 40 years of their life before we realize, oops, sorry, we found the DNA evidence and you weren't the one that did it. Here's a couple of $1 million. We can't give you back your life. Welcome to the chat, Terry Antico. But we can give you money. It's a freaking mess. And I wish the system was better. I wish the system was more fair. But here's another rub. A lot of this could be done if we elected more people who have the same credentials as now AG Garland. People who are willing to do the work. You might not know them. You might not think, oh, this is a guy I could have a beer with, or this is a girl that I like. But they are willing to do the legal, nerdy work, the clerk stuff that I spent all day doing again. I haven't been a clerk in years. I haven't worked in the office in years. But I spent all day perusing stuff for both my new book and for this Bonnet Chronicles. And the stuff I found out about the arrest warrants, the stuff I found out about certain convictions, everything this man has done in his career, I am not going to allow you to just disrespect him. I ain't even go after most of the AGs, except for Howdy Doody Sessions, because I like that Kamala Harris made him cry. I will always love that video. But I did not feel the need to go after AGs or to make them out to be the heroes of the day. Some of you really thought Mueller was going to save us from Trump. No, he wasn't. AG is not, that's not their job. Some of you really thought the Comey letter against Clinton was going to bring her down. Technically speaking, it helped fuel a bunch of y'all's attitudes, but it shouldn't have. Now you keep putting this man on unrealistic pedestals, and it's ridiculous. The man is there to do his job. And need I remind you that unlike some people, he is presiding over 50 states with all different cases, including what's going on in Idaho, including several big national things, including now this nothing burger with the Biden supposed papers, and including the stuff that they had to get off of 45. This is bigger than any of you understand. And I can't stop you from speculating. I can't stop you from griping. I can't stop you from feeling the way you are. So I'm not going to. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not joining you in your gripe. I'm not joining you in your demands. I'm not joining you in your do-saying, because it's tiring to see grown people who should know better doing this. You help the other side when you do this. I already saw a supposed blue wave emoji check talking about, well, if they don't do something fast enough, if Biden doesn't fire Garland, I'm holding my vote in 2024. Then you got these obvious bots talking about, well, what about Pete Buttigieg for 2024? Pete Buttigieg's never announced that he's going to run again. He is our transportation secretary. He is doing a damn good job despite the right wanting to attack that. Some of you ain't fooling anybody with your stuff. Y'all would rather attack Pete Buttigieg and everything else, but ignore the fact, not even to do something types. This country is literally, they're trying to turn us into a daggone Gilead. Missouri Republicans pass a rule requiring women to cover their arms in the state house chamber. Now you say, you look at this and you're like, why do they need this rule? Who is this for? Do bear arms? Because I thought this was the country with the right to bear arms. I guess it's just the shoot kill kind. But apparently, showing a bit too much shoulder gets the freaking vapors for them old crazy GOPers. And you notice that the article is clear. Missouri Republicans, because Democrats don't have time for this. And it's a ridiculous requirement. And one of the things people are throwing around is they're trying to turn this into a Gilead. And I really do feel like there are way too many people on both sides that kind of hyper fantasize about us turning into this weird thing of handmaidens. And no, not only because I'm black and there ain't no effing way I'm letting my country do this, but because this is ridiculous. You keep telling women that parts of our body distract you. That's a you problem. You keep allowing these ridiculous, antiquated notions that our physiques and our looks are subjected to whatever predatory nonsense that you may have. And it's disgusting that we keep allowing that acceptance. Yeah, not to bear. Exactly. I'm just like, they're being ridiculous. And then I almost put up his picture, but I don't want to give his Twitter any kind of advertisement. I'm sure you will see screenshots of that right-wing Yahoo. I think his name is Nick something. He's not even originally from America, but he knew a good grift when he seen one. So he brought his Aussie ass over here, gave himself a handle with USA in it, and then he just tweets the most asinine things about what it means to be a male and what it means to be this, because he knows right-wingers will give him money. It is the perfect grift if you can pull it off. So now him, Tucker Carlson, and other Fox idiots decided that M&Ms are too woke. M&Ms are trying to turn your kids this and that. And they have the brilliant idea. I'm going to get on that too in the momentary, Antico, because that terminology bothers me, and I ranted about that to Greg the other night. But this genius thought we should go and buy up all the M&Ms in the stores and then just smash them and videotape ourselves smashing them. My brain goes, well, I don't want an M&M shortage for those who want to eat them. I will think it's fucking hilarious if they drive up M&M prices, or they give them a price a stock heist, because these idiots are buying several bags of this candy to protest. These are the same people that bought expensive Keurigs to smash. They don't get their money back. You're not going to get your money back buying stuff and destroying it, you idiots. And I know that by saying that, because I know it's never going to get to the people it should get to, I'm going to enjoy the compilations of idiots inspired by this idiot to do this. Because I've seen it happen before. Users are always so manipulative. It should be sad, but it's freaking hysterical to me how easily manipulated these people are, and how much money these fools are gonna lose doing these stupid stunts to stick it to Eminem. I'm looking forward to it. But to go back to what Terry was saying about the alpha male crap, the guy who coined that phrase even regrets it. Back, I think, in the 60s or the 70s, there was this researcher who was studying wolves. Didn't understand what the pack was, didn't understand the hierarchy of the pecking order, didn't even realize a cub from a full wolf, and made the mistake of documenting that there was an alpha that all the wolves listened to. Didn't even realize that most wolf packs are more dominated by female wolves. They didn't understand. They put that out there and people ran with it. So much so that the myth has outlasted the actual facts about how wolves travel, how wolves are. And men took to that. And I can believe that the whole alpha beta bullshit is more of a human thing than an animal thing. Because most animal societies have one dominant leader, but the hunters are the females. The more dangerous and aggressive ones are the females. So I don't know. I feel like we humans are the ones that twist things, and I know that that researcher regrets that the whole alpha male nonsense never died, and that people are still running with it. But it's always funny that right wingers are the ones that really want to run with it, including not Merrick. Let me get this picture down. Let me see if I can find that asinine tweet, because it was hilarious this morning. Yeah, this crap from Brigitte Gabrielle. I'm making fun of her name, y'all. I don't think that's how she says it. I'm sure she says with a twang. I'm Bridget Gabrielle, like the angel. She said, "Why does the left hate masculine men so much?" Okay, show me an example of a masculine man. I'll wait. Because if you're telling me the man who got upset over Smells Like Teen Spirit, Ariel being black, and every time I hear him, it is like a tea kettle is shrieking as he whines about not getting his wife wet, Ben Shapiro. I don't even know who this dude is, but I thought he was balancing that coffee cup on his junk, and he's not even that impressive. He's just holding it between his legs. I don't know who he is. He looks boring. This guy, all the way to the far right, I don't know if he smelt something bad, but he just looks permanently confused. Sex trafficker here down to the bottom left, fakes his way through everything, and literal Nazi to the far right. Where's the masculine man? Who am I supposed to be hating? I hate these guys for their beliefs. I hate these guys because they keep perpetuating really superficial stereotypes on what it means to be white, what it means to be male, what it means to be Christians, if they're Christian, or as Ben Shapiro supposedly identifies as some other religion. I don't know. I feel like people play games with stuff like this, but I'm telling you right now, there is no jealousy, no hatred. I don't think about most of these men. Outside hoping that little Mr. Traffic underage girls goes down for what he did, I try not to think of any of these guys. It ain't hate, it's indifference. It ain't hate, it's hoping that I never have to run into or work with or work near anybody that skews me out like all six of these idiots do. And I think it's really funny that they reach like this and they do this for interaction. they do this to get people to respond to them. And we have to learn to just let their noise stay on their side. These people want our engagement. That's why Musk changed things to followers and for you. And he wants you to click on that for you so that you get inundated with right wing stuff. I'm not clicking on that. I don't want to see anybody that I am not currently following. I have 30,000 people interested in the crap I'm saying. I don't need any new friends. And I definitely don't want to see any of these so-called thumb-looking patriots. I didn't even transition it over. These idiots. I was pointing that. You still had that Gilead thing. So once again, guy in the top right can't make his wife right. Don't know who this middle guy is. Don't care. That guy, I believe, has caught a bad smell. Bottom left, sex trafficker. Middle guy, don't know. Think he faked the illness. And that other one's a literal Nazi. Just gonna remind you all. The left ain't jealous of nobody. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. I want to thank you all for the constant support. Thank you for sitting in, Red Baron. Masculine at times does equal servitude because they make men feel like you've got to be a certain way to be a man. And no, you don't. Just be comfortable in who you are. Stop allowing society to dictate what is a man, because there are way too many people trying to sell you your life. And nobody can tell you who to be but you. But I'll get into this more next Tuesday. I thank you all for sitting in with me. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Go make me some soup. Hopefully you got a bit of what it means to not spread misinformation. I hopefully showed you some of the fallacy against AG Garland as well, because it was really frustrating to me seeing so many people talk nasty about this man. But I'm going to wrap this up. I will be back on Sunday with a little bit of D&D, and then back for Tuesday's Tired Tuesday Bonnet Chronicles. Hopefully, because we're going under a new system for the kids' school, and that was already stressful enough today. But till then, I will see you all next week. Honey, do you want to... There you go. I was waiting for it. Yes, you did. And we're gonna get her. The music's contagious. Jim is my name, no one else is the same. Jim is my name. All right, y'all. I will see you next time, honey. Be safe traveling back home. I will see you later. Don't you dare. I will talk to you in a bit. I'm gonna go make dinner, y'all. See you later.